The New York Knicks used to be the laughingstock of the NBA, and they used to be a team you could not take seriously. Fast forward a few years later, and nobody's laughing now. Instead, actually, we have an NBA insider from ESPN who actually predicts that the New York Knicks could be a team that you see in the Eastern Conference Finals next season. That's how far the New York Knicks have come. We're going to break down that report, see if the New York Knicks can actually make the conference finals, and see who is the key player on the New York Knicks to get them there. We're going to look into this and so much more today. Let's get started. Zach Lowe from ESPN believes that the New York Knicks will be in the conference finals. Can you see the smile on my face, guys? Can you see how happy I am? A few years ago, to hear anybody, especially ESPN, say anything, something positive about the New York Knicks was just a foreign story. It never happened. And if the New York Knicks were in the news, were in the media, it was something bad. It was something to be mocked about. It was something to be laughed about. That was basically everything the New York Knicks used to be a part of when they were part of the media. Nowadays, things look a lot different. You're seeing headlines about Jalen Brunson. You're seeing headlines about the New York Knicks patiently and smartly building out this roster. You're seeing headlines, even from Adrian Wojnarowski, saying that the New York Knicks are doing the right things in terms of free agency and have all the assets necessary to make that superstar trade happen. So clearly, times have changed and the New York Knicks are seen as a different team nowadays. But according to Zach Lowe, he went a little further because he believes in the New York Knicks just a little bit more than a lot of other people on ESPN do. According to Lowe, he believes that the New York Knicks can make it at least to the Eastern Conference Finals. He states the following: they won a playoff series last season. They demolished the Cleveland Cavaliers. They competed hard against Miami in the second round. If I'm a Knicks optimist, Philadelphia, they're a mess. Milwaukee, they're facing some pressure. Boston, they got to reinvent themselves around Kristaps Porzingis. Some injury-prone guys. Miami, they still don't have Dame. They got Heat culture. They got Jimmy Butler. They got Bam, but they don't have Damian Lillard yet. And then he states the following after that: why can't we wake up in May and the New York Knicks are in the conference finals? Maybe not the finals. That might be a little much. But why not go to the conference finals? This is a good, deep team and well coached. They're going to grind defensively. Shout out to Zach Lowe for giving some very, very high praise for the New York Knicks. He believes out of all the teams in the Eastern Conference, all the stacked teams, he believes that the New York Knicks could potentially be one of those teams to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And honestly, guys, that means a whole lot coming from Zach Lowe. He's an ESPN NBA insider, covered the league for years, connected to a number of league sources, and he believes that the New York Knicks could potentially be that team in the Eastern Conference Finals. He's not taking it away from the New York Knicks, and he's even giving some shots to other teams and why they potentially may be too high on some people's list. Boston really absolutely got better with Kristaps Porzingis, but did they really get better? Or is it going to take a lot to build around KP to see what he can actually offer that Boston Celtics team? Because he is often injured. Now, I'm not saying he didn't come off of one of the best seasons of his career last year. He did. But is he going to be able to replicate that this year with the Boston Celtics? I don't know. How is he going to be utilized with the Boston Celtics? There's another question mark. And just because you have the pieces doesn't mean it's always going to work. And it doesn't always come together fast. We have to remember that. So Boston, in my opinion, is a question mark. Philadelphia is a mess. Why can't the New York Knicks sneak into the Eastern Conference, get that number 3 seed, and work their way to the Eastern Conference Finals? I think Zach Lowe makes a compelling argument here. Not only that, they've built chemistry off the fact that they really didn't change their roster much. Dante DiVincenzo re-signed Josh Hart, a couple of two-way players. That's it. Nobody else. So their roster really remains unchanged because they traded Obi Toppin away, really, and that's the only significant move. Everybody else remains the same, more or less. You got Dante in here to help with shooting and also to help with that chemistry because he used to play with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, so you have that going for you as well, too. So there's a lot of things pointing in the Knicks' direction in terms of their favor to having a good start and also, hopefully, to take that number 3 spot in the East. A lot of things are going to have to go right. They're not going to be gifted that spot by any means. A lot of things are going to have to go right. But to Zach Lowe's point, why not the Knicks? New York is back, if you guys haven't noticed. And I say back not to mean we're going to be in the playoffs each and every year. I hope we are, though. And that we're going to go to the finals each and every year. I'm not saying that. The New York Knicks used to be the laughingstock of the NBA. We used to be laughed out of conversations in basketball. When you used to say you were a New York Knicks fan, they never even used to take your opinion seriously. They knew how passionate New York Knicks fans were about basketball. They knew they loved the sport, and they knew they even followed the sport a lot. Not just the Knicks, but other teams around the league. So they knew that New York fans were knowledgeable, but they would still clown them because they were New York Knicks fans. Today, that's not happening anymore. And it's hard to do that when the New York Knicks have actually been better than a lot of people expected, especially making the Eastern Conference semifinals last season with Jalen Brunson leading the charge in his first year. A lot of people didn't expect the jump from Jalen Brunson or that New York Knicks team. And Zach Lowe not only believes that the New York Knicks can get there, he believes that they can get past that point next season and get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Who they'll meet there, I don't know, but it's going to be a very hard road to get there because just because they have a shot to get there doesn't mean they're going to ride that wave of momentum to get there. It's going to take a lot, a little bit of luck, a lot of chemistry, a lot of practice, a lot of changing things and experimentation with things, maybe going away sometimes from the 9-man rotation, especially if you need a little bit more shooting and you still want to keep that defense in and out when you need it. Because sometimes you want to play a Deuce McBride for his defense, but also you don't want to keep him out there because of the shooting. Well, maybe you can put Dante DiVincenzo in there at times to help facilitate the shooting. And you can also keep Dante DiVincenzo in there a little bit longer at times because he is a capable defender as well. So you have some ways, if you're Tom Thibodeau, to make this roster better with the players that you have just by changing how you utilize them. It's amazing. If a player is utilized differently, you might be able to get a little bit more out of them. And it's up to the coach to figure out who those players are and how you can maximize what they do for this New York Knicks team. And speaking about key players, one question came to mind from Zach Lowe, and it was, is Randle the key for the New York Knicks playoff dreams? Is Randle the key for the New York Knicks to get to the Eastern Conference semifinals? Well, according to Zach Lowe, he does believe Randle plays a huge part. The big obstacle for the New York Knicks, according to Zach Lowe, in the playoffs, assuming they get back there, is Julius Randle has to play better. He's 34% from the field for his career for the playoffs. He's been there twice. He shot poorly both times. That's the next level for him and the Knicks. But the NBA Finals, that's a little too much. And I agree. I think given the current roster that the New York Knicks have, they're not NBA Finals bound. I think every team has a shot, even a small shot to get there. So the Knicks definitely have a shot. But am I considering them a lock to get there this season? No, I don't think they're there yet. However, if you want to sell me on conference finals, I'm not saying Julius Randle has to be the exact same player Jalen Brunson is. What I'm saying is Jalen Brunson clearly realizes there's levels to this. Regular season, and then playoffs. And he turns it up and on for the playoffs. Julius Randle needs to understand and do the exact same thing. If Julius Randle gave us the same numbers and production he gave us during the regular season in the playoffs with just a little bit more efficiency, the New York Knicks might have destroyed and swept Cleveland and might have been in the conference finals last season. That's how impactful Julius Randle can be for this New York Knicks team. When he's on, he's nearly unstoppable. When he's shooting that three with precision, you can't stop him. And when he's in the paint driving, he's strong, he's a bully. You don't want any of that smoke with Randle in the paint. So if he's on his game and he's getting the ball in the right places, in the right positions, Randle could be a monster for this New York Knicks team. It's up to the point guard and Jalen Brunson to find him in the right positions and spots. Also up for Tom Thibodeau to run plays that actually make sense for Randle and his skill set. Don't just give Randle the ball at the top of the key and have him shoot a three each and every time. Because guess what? A lot of other teams are actually expecting that and waiting for that to happen. What do you think when you see Randle with the ball walking it up at half court? You know he's going to dribble, jab step you, and probably take the three, especially if he's in the first quarter. And in the first quarter, Randle looks to score a lot because if he gets off to a hot start, chances are he's going to have a great game moving forward. And that's what we've seen for every single New York Knicks fan watching. You know you've seen the case. Randle gets off to a hot start. What normally happens? He goes off for that game. Poor first start, and guess what happens? He usually doesn't have that great of a game. We've seen it time and time again. I would also like to see more consistency from Randle, not only during the regular season, but in the playoffs. If he takes that jump, I agree with Zach Lowe. The New York Knicks are conference finals bound, especially if he can keep it up from game to game. Because again, the consistency of it is what we need more than anything else. It's great that he can do it. We all know that he can do it. You see the level of production that he averages. We know what he can do. The consistency and the ability to say, we can rely on you, Randle. We can rely on what you can give us. That part right there, if that happens and that's true, this New York Knicks team is different. But let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below and tell me, do you think the New York Knicks have the current roster available to them that can get them to the Eastern Conference Finals? Or is Zach Lowe not correct here? Are the New York Knicks not bound for the Eastern Conference Finals? Let me know your comments below. I can't wait to hear from you. But until next time, Knicks fans, don't forget to leave a comment below, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.